It's recording. We are live.
Live from
From where are we now? Playa del Carmen, right? Yeah. So I guess we'll just start with a little introduction because this is a new thing we're doing with our YouTube channel. We're going to be interviewing amazing, fun, cool nomads that are world travelers, people that have found a life, abroad, and they're supporting it through whatever business or, ideas that they're pursuing. So what are we going to call this? Do we have an official name for it?
well, maybe we can. Hello, everyone. We should honor what the first idea that we had, which was lunch talks.
Lunch talks, yeah.
And yeah, basically, we just want to bring people that are experiencing kind of like the same lifestyle as we are, and maybe helping more people out there with their journeys. So lunch talk.
Yeah, let's go with that. So lunch talks with Walid and Ilwi, and today's special guests are Luis and Kelly.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
So if you guys would like, just start by introducing yourself, maybe, anything about yourself, what you're doing, and how we met's a cool story too. So we should definitely talk about how we met. And yeah, let's start with that. So
Awesome.
Kelly wants to begin.
Sure. Hi, my name is Kelly. I currently am the nonprofit marketing nerd. So you can find me on YouTube. And this is my husband, Luis. Also goes by Felipe, also goes by Pipe. So lots of people know him. And that's one of the funny things about, I think, Nomads is sometimes you change your name just to help other people pronounce them. Right. But anyway, I was originally when Wally and I know Walid first, and
3 years ago now, right? Yeah, 3
yeah,
years.
more than 3 years
Yeah.
ago, long ago. I originally came to Mexico to look at real estate with a bunch of friends that were looking at real estate, and I was supposed to be here for 2 or 3 weeks, and it was a strange time in the world. In what was that? 2021.
Yeah, right after COVID, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, it was one of the few countries that still wasn't fully locked down.
Yeah,
So.
which I think
yeah.
for Walid and I were like, why we didn't leave. And then we met people that made us explore with them. But while I was here, I met Luis. At the time, I was running what I'd call a boutique agency, and maybe we'll get more into that. And just dipping my toes in short-term rental real estate. And since then, I'll let Luis introduce himself, but since then, met him. He's quit his full-time job and joined me in the adventure.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Hi, my name is Luis. I used to work in advertising agency for a very long time. And after we met during COVID, after that, I decided just to quit my job. And with the savings I had, we began to buy properties. And so we could travel and, become a digital nomad, I guess. And that's what we've been doing ever
The
since.
dream.
yeah, I like to call it location independent.
Yeah, location dependence. And then the next step is financial dependence. That's
Yes,
the goal.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's where.
Oh, that's the goal. That's where we hang at.
Yeah.
And Luis is from Mexico City, born and bred, and I'm from the Midwest.
Okay.
U.S.
And we should probably just in case people that don't know us watching, say a little bit about ourselves and what we do.
Yeah.
So I'll start. My name is Walid, and I originally from Egypt, moved to the US as a 5 years old. Pretty much went down the traditional road of go to school, get a job, go to college, get a job, go get a master's degree, keep working, and stuck in that corporate lifestyle. And real estate is kind of like my escape route from that. I started reading and learning about how to invest in real estate. Did that kind of on the side while I was working full time, saving money, started buying some property, and eventually 5 years ago now got into Airbnb, and that's kind of been my main focus for the last few years. So I've been pursuing that, building the Airbnb business, on the side trying to start a digital product called B&B Automated. So something I'm still working on, work in progress. It doesn't happen overnight. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the common themes I think you'll see with becoming a digital nomad. It's not an overnight thing. It takes years, and it's a process. Like when you were talking, you're like, I guess we're nomads now. Like it just kind of happens, right? But yeah, that's my introduction.
So my introduction will be, I'm from Mexico City, and I don't know, I randomly just ended up being a digital nomad. Like I wasn't really looking for that, and here I am after meeting Walid. Well, I was kind of like here in Playa we met, and now we're married. But I'm still working at a 9 to 5 big corp, which I love. I have a great job that actually allows me to like just travel the world, and I have both of the best worlds, right? Like I'm still an employee, but I also just happen to experience this digital nomad dream life that a lot of people are talking about, or location independent.
So you don't have to have your own business.
That's right, but I will at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, so should we give this start?
You want to start with the first question? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through like a series of questions, and this will kind of be our theme for future lunch talks. Like we'll bring guests on, we'll go through these questions, and the goal really is to kind of share people's stories, help inspire other people, and just show them, how you can accomplish it and maybe get inspired a little bit. So the first question is, we want to talk about the entrepreneurship journey. So we want to talk about like how you became a nomad or entrepreneur, like kind of what led you to that path, and then also some of the challenges you faced along the way. Like what were some of the difficulties and how you maybe overcame them, or maybe even just talk about like what you think helped you become a nomad. Like so we can start with that.
Okay, so I think I'm one of the rare people that was location independent and an entrepreneur pre-COVID and already working online and operating a business remotely. For about 5 years, I had what I would call like a boutique, like pretty teeny tiny marketing agency. So I was running that from Central Illinois in my house, which I think a lot of people do. And you were talking about this, like, I could have been anywhere, but I just and Luis too, like I met him during COVID. He could have been anywhere. He just happened to be at home. And I was presenting a lot of conferences and traveling a lot. So I started renting out a room in my house while I was traveling. So I started house hacking is the term for it, and enjoyed traveling a lot. And so kept kind of, I'm presenting at this conference, so I have to fly somewhere. So I'll stay there for 2 weeks and rent out my house for longer. And I'd say, I think I'm almost 8 years into Airbnb, and I started house hacking. So I accidentally became nomadic.
Yeah.
I kind of like accidentally ended up living out of my car that was then living out of a suitcase. And I didn't actually ever sleep the night in my car, but I ended up keeping clothes and kind of like, for me, I had a lot of business meetings. So I had like multiple suits in the back seat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, we'll see what happens.
Always prepared.
Right, exactly. Maybe I'll go somewhere else.
Unexpected.
Yeah, and then COVID hit, and I was stuck in one place. And I'd actually, I don't know that Wally knows this, I just committed to being a digital nomad. I'd saved up money, and I was going to go to Spain and Portugal. And I'd packed up everything. It was like March 13th.
Yeah.
And then it was like the same week COVID hit. And I was like, I've been traveling already for like a year and a half, bopping around. Now I'm stuck, and I ended up renting out my house and staying like near my parents, and I'm stuck in a town I don't know. And then 6 months later, ended up in Mexico. So
Amazing.
That's kind of, I guess, my digital nomad journey, but I would say that it was kind of accidental.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it's unplanned, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'll pull Luis into it, then I'll let him answer. But one of the things that once you have freedom, which for me, it was less about travel and more about freedom of day, freedom of location, freedom of spending my days in alignment with however I want to.
Yeah.
And it was very, very difficult to have a partner that didn't have as much freedom. So as soon as they sent him back to the office,
Yeah.
I probably I very quickly encouraged transitions into real estate more.
Actually, it was not that encouragement because I mean, we talked about that before. For me, I had this career in advertising, and I was the first thing that I told her was like, I don't care much about like improving 20% of toilet paper sales in the like.
It wasn't something.
It was not something that really excited me or passionate. Yeah. Like, of course, I like working with creatives, which I think that's what I do now as well. But the fact that you could live life on your terms, like managing your time, that was something that really caught my eye, and I really wanted to move forward with it. And it was difficult at the beginning just to do that leap, but it's definitely worth it. It definitely is, and I guess I've never looked back after that.
Yeah, it's hard to go back once you taste that freedom
definitely.
and flexibility.
Yeah, it is. And we got our properties in Central Illinois, a couple of properties in Mexico City, and that's what we're doing now. Like it presents a couple of challenges, but we're up to the test for that, and we're always trying to improve in what we do.
Amazing. Should we say a little about how we became nomads? Our journey?
Maybe for a different video?
Sure, yeah.
Keep that for...
Well,
It's their first time.
Yeah, no, we'll tweak the format as we go. So, but yeah, just in the interest, because this is only the first question, and we want to get through all of them. So, let's go to question number 2. There we go. So work-life balance is kind of the next theme we want to talk about. So I guess one of the challenges, we didn't mention it, but one of the challenges is like kind of staying disciplined and like maintaining focus. And because it's easy when you're traveling or living in another country to like just want to have fun and do stuff all the time. And but you still have your work or your business you're building and things like that. So for this question, how do you keep a healthy balance between your work and personal life? And just talk a little bit about that.
Luis would claim I don't.
When I met her, she used to like wake up around 4:30, 5 in the morning, work for a couple of hours, then we hit the gym, come back, and she worked again. For me, it was like I used to work around like 7 or 8 hours a day, but she was like working maybe 11 or like 10 hours a day.
It's the American in me. Those are also cultural differences. And at the time I owned my own business. So I'd say like, it's something I'm constantly struggling with. And I wouldn't say it's been good because I think in the nomad space, you're surrounded by communities of people that I don't want to say aren't as impressed by professional like things, but like they're more holistic about their approach to life. And so it's been really positive for me to, especially in Playa del Carmen, be around a lot of people that are more, in the US, like the second, what do you do for a living is like the second question everyone asks. Yeah. And in the Midwest, it's like, and where's your home church? It's like the third or fourth question. Yeah. So it's been, I think, helped me grow as a human, a lot. And I'm actually currently experimenting, which I was telling Louis about off the line. I'm currently experimenting with not sitting down at a computer, and I'm tweaking it. But like, I'm not taking meetings before noon and only on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which is huge for me.
She's organizing better now with her time and how she wants to spend it and how she wants to reallocate that time in order for her to find balance, which it's been a struggle for her, but she's doing it pretty good.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So,
that's a great takeaway. Just, balancing your time and making sure you're not burning yourself out or getting too stressed. So that's a good one. All right, let's move on to question 3. So this one's a little bit more about inspiration and motivation. It's like, what daily habits do you practice and how do you keep yourself motivated and inspired? And maybe just, that could be through networking or meeting people or whatever works for you. So let's see.
We always try to get in touch with the community, in this case in Playa del Carmen, and there's a lot of meetings here with networking with people, but I've also like try to keep my mind straight, meditating, doing exercise, eating properly, because it's so easy just to fall off and just start doing things that you're not supposed to do, or doesn't bring you any benefits whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that's for me. Kelly has other ideas.
Actually, like how Kelly and I met was here in Playa at a meetup, so that's how super important it is, like to just network and meet people in the city you are.
Yeah. And you meet, I think, aligned people too, because you're going to things that interest. Like we met at I think it was like a co-working meetup. So it was for people that were wanting to meet other people that were inspired by the work that they do and connect with other.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep you inspired and continue to grow in business. So, it's funny because this is just on this. There are one of the things that happens as a nomad is you have different seasons in life. So it's very, like Luis and I just spent 5 months slow traveling Europe. We thought it was going to be 7. And I think our priorities there were different. Our habits were different. So we kind of like set new priorities and habits, which kind of breaks up your life a little based on the location we're at.
Exactly. You have to adapt to the place you are in or where you're at the moment. So the routines that you have change, like depending on where you're at.
Like here, you can go to the beach.
Exactly.
I actually love that because it's very important to like build up your resiliency, right? It's like you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, you never know, right? But like when you are sitting in an office, it's pretty much the same thing, day after day after day, right? But when you're a nomad, it's more like you need to like build up that. Yeah,
who's gonna hold me accountable but me?
Yeah, exactly. You gotta like be very creative and like you never know what's gonna happen, who you're gonna meet, what kind of problems you're gonna face, or where you're gonna work, or that type of situation. So
the internet's not working.
The internet's not working, so so it makes you like very creative in a way.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, I think we covered that one. So next question is, how does spirituality or personal growth play a role in your journey as a digital nomad, and what practices help you stay grounded and connected?
Yeah, again, it's a little flowy based on location, and I can really tell. I mean, part of the reason we're back in Playa del Carmen is with all of our constant travel, we were feeling a little ungrounded. Like we're 5 months on the road, and we're just like, we need to kind of slow down, recenter.
Go back to the roots.
Go back to Go back to our roots. Luis and I also met Playa del Carmen. I tend to, in terms of personal growth, find community of women wherever I go, whether it be through, when we were in Yorkshire for a couple months, I went to a hot yoga studio. In Mexico City and Playa del Carmen, I started like women in business masterminds. Yeah. I just joined more informal mastermind for women in business here. And I think that's what I do. And right now I'm in a place where Playa del Carmen's great for, actually just signed up today for a mindset and manifestation coaching program. And I actually got to meet the person face to face that I'll be working with, which is amazing. There's so many thought leaders and true, I think, healers here. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, like the fact that what I need to do is just doing exercise, like running or lifting weights. And when we were in Europe and in Yorkshire, I got back into tennis, which is something that I left as, I don't know, like 10 years ago, and I got into that again, and I find joy in that. But it's always about exercising, meditating, reading a little bit. For me, that's for me, and it keeps me grounded as well. And those kind of activities play a huge role in my. In my mental health, I guess.
I'm hoping to get Luis to be a little bit more. I'm hoping to get Luis to be a little bit more of a nature person. For our honeymoon, we did go on like a 6-week Yellowstone, Zion, did a lot of hiking, a lot of slow hiking.
Well, at least I'm getting more and more into hiking, and I'm enjoying it. Like being in touch with nature is something that really, it's really soothing.
And in 2024, he wants to be a camper.
It's not that I want to be a camper. I'm open to the possibility of like
some more camp.
More camping.
Nice,
but
nice. We're all campers when we go camping.
We saw when we went to Japan, we saw this awesome camping store where like they have like so many cool stuff. Like you should become a camper. Camping.
I'm hoping to be more in touch with nature and like hiking and that sort of
Spending the night in nature.
Yeah, I'm not close to that. I'm open to the possibilities, but like that and being a camper is kind of different.
But, and your one of your dreams is to have an Airstream, right? You guys mentioned that. So,
my dream.
Yeah.
Hopefully, coming to Lisa's dream.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe we can use that money to get another property that cash flows better.
Yeah.
But like she wants to get an Airstream. I don't know if that's the best decision. We're still in negotiations, I guess.
You'll have to figure out a way to put your Airstream on Airbnb. And
Yeah.
for the
I
Airstream.
have a girlfriend. I have a girlfriend that's making money. She bought an RV thinking she would use it for recreation, and now she's making significant cash flow renting
Yeah, it's
it out.
impressive. I think people underestimate how much you can make renting an RV, right?
Yeah.
Especially those kind of RVs. Well, those kind of are they RVs?
They're yeah.
No, Airstreams are fancy special snowflake RVs.
Okay.
They are. That's why they're so expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, like those are pretty cool. Like yeah, and they have all amenities, and it's a good option, I believe. But like we're negotiating that.
Okay. Very cool.
We're also thinking to rent an RV, so
We'll start with renting one,
Yes.
see if we like it, and then discuss if we should buy one.
and we just explore South America.
Yeah. Actually, we've met many people that are like just by traveling through South America, you meet people that are doing that whole road trip, and it's a pretty common thing. I think people want to just live out of what do they call it? Van life.
Van life, yeah.
It's like a big thing nowadays, and what we're talking about is one of the ways to enable that, right? Like people find a way to make money, outside the traditional 9 to 5, and now they have that location independence, and I think it's very cool. Okay, so last question. Advice for aspiring nomads. So what advice would you give to couples or individuals that want to follow a similar path, and how can they find happiness and fulfillment along the way?
I very, very adamantly say this just about ever. The worst that's going to happen is you have to go back and get a job. So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or business owner, like the very worst thing that can happen is you have to go back and get a job. So, there's inaction as a decision. One of the things I kind of tell people that are thinking about it is try first, and we just had a friend visit us last week, try first working remotely to kind of test out, because some people really like familiarity, and nomading is like constant in familiarity. I lived in Japan in my early 20s, but I still lived in one location, which is very different than bopping around. So I'd say test it out first.
And don't be afraid of quitting your job. I think for me that was a big fear. Like, what am I gonna do? But you'll figure it out. Like if anything, once you quit your job, you really will find a way to make your business work, or your obviously have like a backup plan. Like I would say save at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses before you quit your job. So you're not like out on the street. You gotta
I believe that the greatest risk is not making a decision, and if you are committed and you want to live this kind of life, you should take that leap of faith and go for it. But like Kelly said, like try to work remotely first, and you'll see if it suits you or not, or what you can switch in the routines, and you'll go from there.
And I will say, because I'm looking at your questions again, guys, fulfillment and happiness along the way. One of the things that I think we've done wrong a couple times, like we love spending time together. I'm kind of a workaholic, recovering workaholic, is we haven't focused on finding community early enough. Even because we would constantly say, we're only going to be here for 3 weeks, and we're only going to be here for 5 weeks. But when you're only forever, then you never really connect with anyone. So we've been really intentional, at least in the last 4 months maybe, about everywhere we go, making sure there's some human other than each other that we can connect and interact with.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, like community is very important, and that will be a great takeaway from this. Like, try to find community in the places you're going, you're visiting, even if it's for just a little while, just to connect with people. It's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got cool experiences like play like because he took the risk of putting himself out there, even though we were only somewhere for a short time. You played in a tournament in the UK and won, and they wanted to come back and play. Like those are cool experiences.
That is true. Yeah, I challenged myself into just playing abroad and in this rural countryside in the UK. Like they invite me to this tournament, and I put my grain of salt into just winning with the team of the racket club I was playing with, and that was pretty fulfilling.
And then they want him to come back 6 months later, and we're like,
they wanted me to come back, but unfortunately I couldn't. Like we couldn't since we're on the road. So but that was a pretty fulfilling thing.
Yeah. And actually, building on what you just said, when I quit my job, it was because I joined a program called Remote Year. So that's like a good advice for people watching. It's kind of like a safe way to travel with a group of people, and you're with the same people. You could do it if you check out their website. They do 1 month programs, 4 months programs. Or 1 year program.
This is not a sponsored post.
This is not a sponsored, but it's.
But if they want to sponsor us,
someone's got to pay for this YouTube channel. but yeah, it's a good way to kind of get your feet wet with traveling, living abroad, and doing it in like a safe space. You're not on your own trying to figure it all out. Like they'll help organize the travel, the accommodation, the co-work space, and then once you do that for a little bit, you might build up the confidence to be like, all right, where do I want to go next, and just start doing it on your own. So that's actually how I started nomading, was through Remote Year. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. So any final thoughts or things you want to share? If you want to shout out your business, or of course we're going to tag Luis and Kelly and then share their info and the details, but yeah.
If that's an itch that you want to scratch and you really like exploring, you should take that leap of faith and just plan it out. I don't know, like find a way, and you won't regret it. You won't. Mm-hmm. I promise you won't. And the worst thing that could happen is just go back and get a job. So that's it.
Yeah. And I think, we keep talking about community, but that's because community is important. Yeah. One of the things that for us, we now have, I know you guys have more doors than we do collectively, but, I just started with one house. I was house hacking. Luis owned a property, and then we transitioned to an Airbnb, but we only had 2 properties, but I had so many friends that had a lot more Airbnbs, and I'd probably networked for the last 3 to 4 years, knowing that was a direction we wanted to go. And then it definitely aligned with Luis's interest and skill set. So I'd already networked and figured out kind of the path I wanted to go before I even got there. So if you're thinking about it, go ahead and connect with those people. Yeah. A lot of my friends were on Instagram originally, and it made going all in on Airbnbs a lot easier, which is now like Luis's job is managing our Airbnbs remotely. So
exactly. And I will just add, find the people you want to be like and just connect with them, and just try to get takeaways from them. And usually they want to create a community that's bigger, and they probably take you in and give you a couple of advice. But yeah, definitely do it, and that will be my
Thank you. No, that's awesome. Like, also make me remind me that we should like be more exposed out there, because you guys get it, right? You are a couple, so you kind of like have each other, and you just go.
Yeah, you spend most of the time.
You spend most of the time together with yourselves, so it's the same thing that happens to Walid and me. And like, we just spend so much time together that sometimes we're like, nah, we have each other. We don't need the rest.
We have to force ourselves to. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Even if we don't want to.
But that's a great advice, and we will make sure to like actually implement it a little bit more in our day-to-day life. And nothing. You wanna add something?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of building multiple income streams. So that's another thing you should keep in mind if you take this journey. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, in the beginning, that's gonna be how you start, but like, have the goal of what else can I do, or having real estate is a great way to do that, because you do get that cash flow, and then you can reinvest that into something else, or you could think of a digital online business or a service you could provide. So I would say, and networking helps with that. Like, you never know who you're gonna meet that can connect you with the right people. Or like, I remember last time I was in Playa, like there were so many amazing people I met that like taught me about like webinars or digital marketing, or how to build sales funnels. And so I guess another thing I would say is invest in your education. So you don't have to do everything on your own. There's lots of people that have already figured it out, that have different products, and like, I found that by learning or buying like ebooks or courses, and that definitely accelerated my path and helped me get to where I am now faster. So that's another kind of final thought that I want to share.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
for
thanks,
having
Lisa
me.
Kelly. Yeah, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and hopefully we'll have more of these soon.
Subscribe.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe. Bye everyone.
Wow.